got another Manic and Panic Monday coming at you in the Sports Ozone. A lot of teams in college football, top 25, they took some not so good losses over the weekend. Miami, Georgia Tech, Tennessee. What did those losses do to their playoff chances? I can tell you right now, they're not so good. Plus, another head coach has bitten the dust in college football. Not really a big deal on the major college landscape. It's still another head coach, and it's still at a Power Four school. We'll get into that. Plus, in the NFL, well, there was a lot of crazy finishes, and we're gonna get into some of them. Plus, now that the Bills are beating the Chiefs, are they the legit Super Bowl contender coming out of the AFC? Or are they playing fool's gold again with us? We'll get into all that. Plus, a little bit about the World Series. I scored the Game 7, and I'm glad I did. It was one of the better World Series games I've ever seen. We'll get into all that here today on the Monday edition of the Total Sports Ozone. Big O with the big mouth coming at you, the Total Sports Ozone for a Monday, November 3rd, 2025. I hope none of y'all, I know too many of y'all ain't dragging a little bit because of the time change we had to do over the weekend. I know I do. But we should be over it by now. It is Monday. We are in November. So college and the pro football seasons are going to be heating up more than ever. We're 2/3 of the way through the college football season, and we're just past halfway mark of the NFL season. So we're right in the thick of things now. Plus, we got college basketball starting up this month. The NBA season will be heating up. The baseball season just ended last Saturday. Yeah, but it's a fun month. It's a fun time for sports. It's just a fun spot. So let's get into it on this Manic and Panic Monday. First, college football. 3 teams that needed wins didn't get them. They needed wins to either keep themselves relevant in the college football playoff conversation or to enhance their resume, let's say, for the college football playoff. They ain't get them. Miami stubbed their toe in Dallas against SMU, losing 26-20 in overtime to the SMU Mustangs. This knocks their playoff chances because now they have 2 losses in conference play. So they now got to chase Virginia, Tech, Louisville. They have to chase those teams just to get into the ACC championship game. And as of this morning, their current chances or probabilities have you to make the college football playoffs have just dipped all the way down to 9%. 9%. Now, personally, yes, with 2 losses, should Miami get in? It's iffy. You got a lot of good 2-loss teams out there. In the SEC, ACC, Big 12. The Big 12 got a bunch of them. And Miami's losses, let's just say they're not great ones, but they were on the road. They lost to. No, one of them was not on the road. One of them was at home. Excuse my French. The Louisville loss, I think if that would have been their only loss on their schedule, they could have survived that. But to lose to an unranked SMU team, that hurt. That loss hurt. I think they know that too. They will have to win out and get a lot of help. just to make it to the ACC championship game. Now they got some help because another team that needed a win didn't get it, and they didn't get it in an enormous fashion, and that was Georgia Tech. They went down to NC State and got bombed by the NC State Wolfpack. This is not going to look good. I know it's their only loss, but with them having to deal with Louisville and Virginia, that loss hurts. That loss hurts. It was a conference loss to a unranked team. I know it was on the road, but still, you're trying to show the committee, especially if you're in the ACC, you're trying to show the committee that you belong. And they're going to look at, hey, you can't even beat NC State on the road. You can't even beat NC State on the road. See what I mean? It's not just all about who you play, it's how you play them. Especially when you're one of those teams that are trying to rise to the top. That are coming out of nowhere to try to get into the playoffs. Like the Georgia Techs, like the Virginians, like the Louisvilles. They're not household names. So they have to, not only do they have to win, they have to win big. Georgia Tech has been winning, but I don't think they have been winning big, especially the last couple of weeks. And it caught up to them against NC State. And so now their chances of making the college football playoffs are about 42%. They need to win out and win the ACC championship. I think that's the only way. I know they only have one loss, but it's a bad loss. It's a loss to an unranked team on the road. It's a bad loss. So they're going to have to win out, and they're going to win out. They have to go to the ACC championship. If they win out, they'll do that. But they also got that game against Georgia at the end of the season. The little rivalry game against Georgia. Now, if they can win that game, I don't believe it would matter if they win the ACC or not. I believe they'll be in if they can beat Georgia. If they lose to Georgia, I know they're going to have no choice but to win the ACC championship game. The Georgia game doesn't count towards the conference record. There's SEC, ACC. But to the committee, it can mean a whole lot of things. If they can beat Georgia on a neutral field, it will mean a whole lot to the committee. Another team that took a L that they shouldn't have if they wanted to stay in the college football playoff conversation was Tennessee. And they took one at home against Oklahoma. This was Tennessee's third loss. It pretty much knocked them out of everything. No college football playoff, no SEC championship. Because I don't see how the committee will let Tennessee in with 3 losses. I just don't see it. I know that 3 losses are the ranked teams, but I don't care. You lost 3 games. 2 of them at home. Nope. You're not even going to be in. You're not even in the pecking order in the SEC anymore. That's over with. You would need all sorts of chaos to happen in the SEC for Tennessee to even be thinking about going to Atlanta and playing for the SEC championship. And that's not going to happen. We know that. So, unfortunately, Tennessee is going to be going to one of those thank you for playing, here's your consolation gift bowls. And it's their own fault. I mean, if you saw how Tennessee played against Oklahoma, you'd be like, what are you doing? The play calling stunk. Yes, I'm blaming this on the coach. The play calling was just brutal. Calling off screens when you know you need more yards than that. It was like, what are you doing? Do you want to win this game? It looked like they didn't. For 3 quarters, it looked like they didn't. It didn't look like either one of the teams wanted to win. For Oklahoma, they said, "All right, that's enough. All right, that's enough of this. We're gonna show you how done." 2 late touchdowns, and I saw the Tennessee fans heading home. I said, they know their season in effect is over. They're sitting at 63, 6-3 with 3 losses in conference. Their season is pretty much over. You hate it for them, but those are the breaks. You got to win those games now. You got to win those games. So, the tough break for Tennessee. There was a game they needed to win. They didn't get it done. They're pretty much done. Now, another coach, I believe, has been let go. It's not on the big. It's not on the realm of like LSU or Florida or Penn State. It was Maryland's head coach, the head coach of the University of Maryland. He was let go. I believe he was Bishop. That's his name. But according to sources, he was let go yesterday after their brutal 55-10 beatdown they took at home against the number 2 team in the country, the Indiana Hoosiers. So it looks like that program will be looking for a new head coach. Just like 8 other programs will be looking for new head coaches this year. Or next year, why did you say? It's just brutal. It's been brutal for college football head coaches. But, as I've said before, college football is not just the sport anymore. It's not just a sport. It's a business. And in this business, you got to win to make money. For your school to make money, you got to win. And if you don't, they're just going to get. I mean, look at the buyouts. Look at the buyouts. Penn State, almost $55 million. LSU, $50+ million. Buyouts. Paying coaches not to coach their team and paying them well. But that's what this game is about now. It ain't just the game, it's the business. Don't high tier college football, the Blue Bloods, the Alabamas, the Ohio States, the LSU, the Georgias. They ain't just football teams, they're brands. They are brands. You can throw Michigan in there, Oklahoma, Texas. Those ain't just college football teams. They are brands. It's like we got money involved, corporate money involved. And you got to win. These teams are not going to win the national title every year, but you better be in the mix. If you want to stay coaching at those schools, the Blue Bloods, Florida, Penn State, Florida State. And I'm pretty sure Auburn's going to be on that list too. Auburn, I would have thought by now Auburn would have let go of their head coach. What's his name? Gene Chichik, or whatever his name is. He got to go. You losing at home to Kentucky? Auburn? You losing at home to Kentucky and you only scored 3 measly points to Kentucky? I thought he would have been fired yesterday. The head coach of Auburn. But we still watching. I'm still watching. I'm still listening. I'm still checking my Twitter feeds. Like, when will Auburn drop the hammer? And I'm thinking it's going to be soon. Or maybe they'll just wait till the end of the season. Maybe if they beat out by some miracle, by some divine intervention, they beat Alabama in the Iron Bowl at the end of the year, maybe they can save the coach's job. I doubt it. I doubt if you can't score more than 3 points against Kentucky, you ain't beating Alabama. I'm sorry, Auburn. But he could be next. Coach of Auburn, he could be next. This is a business. That's what these coaches, that's what we all have to understand now. This ain't your daddy or your granddaddy's college football. Not anymore. You're not gonna see teams get busted for recruiting violations. When all these recruits can get paid now with the NIL. So you ain't gonna see under the table funding. Ain't none of that no more. These kids can get paid, and it's legit. So it's all about winning. It's all about selling your brand. And the best way to sell your brand in college football is to win. And win big. You better at least keep your program in the mix for conference championships, for national championships, for college football playoff appearances every single year. You might have one, they might let you slide. You have one down year. You better not have two. Depth children better not have three. Not three in a row. Or you're going to be gone. Look at Penn State. They was in the playoffs last year. Was a play or two away from playing for the national title with James Franklin. Now look at him. Head coach gone. Their quarterback injured. Will not play no more this season. They've lost 5 in a row. It is what it is. It's business. It ain't just to play on the field, whatever. It's the business. And the business is you got to win. You got to come up with some W's. Consistent W's. It sucks too. But also on the flip to that, why are these schools paying these head coaches these crazy contracts, and then when it don't work out, you got to pay all that buyout money, and you got the nerve to get mad, like LSU's governor the last week. You getting mad because LSU has to buy out Brian Kelly's contract? What you got to do with that? And he saying the taxpayers got to put the bill. No, they don't. The taxpayers don't put the bill on a damn. The taxpayers don't put the bill on a college football coach's contract. No, they don't. The trustees at the school do. They're the ones sign them. They're the ones got to put the bill on the buyout, not the taxpayers. See, now college football's, I don't know why, but now college football not getting a little politicized. That's what I mean. It's all about the business. You gotta win. We have 9 programs, 9 college football teams that will be searching for new head coaches after this season. 9. And Maryland's program yesterday. A lot of up-and-coming coaches probably chomping at the bit. Coaches, coordinators, assistant coaches, we chomping at the bit. But you better understand this. You're there to win. You are there to win. And considering what Kirk Signetti, who was at James Madison 3 years ago, if that, James Madison University, considering what Kirk Signetti has done to the Indiana Hoosiers program in less than 2 years, brought them to absolute garbage to the number 2 team in the country and possibly the number 1 team in the college football playoffs when the rankings come out tomorrow. It could possibly be number 1. And he's done that in 1.5 years. So all you college coaches that's frothing at the bit, looking at all these openings for new head coaching jobs at these universities, especially the big boys, LSU, Florida, Penn State, you better know what you're getting into. The expectations ain't gonna be up. You can go 6-5 and go to a bowl game or 6-6. You better be competing for conference championships and national playoff appearances, and you better do it inside of 2 years. They ain't waiting for no 3-4 years. Them days are gone. They want it turned around PDQ. So I hope these coaches who are going to be throwing their resumes out there for these head coaching positions, I hope you know what you're doing. And I hope you thought real hard and long about what you're getting into at these schools. They don't want to hear no excuses if you lose. They don't want to hear it. Especially with the money they're going to probably be paying. They want you to win. And with the NIL and the transfer portal, they expect you to win like that. That's just how it is now. Business. Return on investment. These schools, the trustees, administrators, and the boosters, they throwing a lot of money to these football programs. And they want return on investment like that. They ain't patient. The word patience in college football long since gone. Long since gone. So, good luck to all the coaches, the assistant coaches, and coordinators who will be vying for these jobs in the offseason. Good luck. Now, one more thing in college football. Now, tomorrow evening, the first initial 2025 college football playoff rankings will be revealed. I think they will be revealed sometime around between 8 and 8:30 Eastern tomorrow night. Now, we got a pretty good idea of a lot of the teams that should be showing up on these rankings. But what about at the top? AP still has Ohio State number 1. Yeah. And you see me what I'm wearing. My hat, my shirt. I'm a Buckeyes fan. I'm not a Buckeye apologist. I'm a Buckeye fan. Always have been, always will be. Here's my question. Here's one. I got 2 questions, really. The first question is, should Indiana be the number 1 team in the college football playoff rankings? Indiana. Over Ohio State. My answer to that is probably. I wouldn't be surprised if the committee, as it's known, puts Indiana over Ohio State at the number 1 spot. I would not be surprised. Indiana has probably the signature win of any team in the Big Ten. Probably any team in college football. They have the signature win. They went on the road and beat the Oregon Ducks. And beat them by double digits. That was probably the signature win of the season up to this point. And they did that. And plus, you got to look at the eye test. The teams that they're supposed to be beating, they ain't just beating them, they be beating the hell out of them. They leaving no doubt. They just saying, we keep coming at you. We gonna keep coming at you until the final gun goes off. Pittsburgh, I think they've had 4 games where they scored 50 or more points this season, including dropping 63 on a ranked team, Illinois. They were ranked top 10 at the time Indiana played them, and Indiana dropped 63 points on them. So the eye test, them bludgeoning teams, and the fact that they got the signature win, not just in the conference, but probably on the whole landscape of college football by going out to Autzen Stadium and beating Oregon by double digits. Leads me to believe that Indiana will jump Ohio State and be the number 1 seed in the college football when the rankings come out tomorrow night. And I have no problem with that. They earned it. Indiana earned it. Ohio State should be 2. If they get to 1, fine. But they'll probably be number 2 in the rank. And that's no problem with that. Ohio State just keep doing what they're doing. Just keep winning. Best defense in college football. 2 best wide receivers in all the kind. I want to hear it. Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith. They gonna be playing on Sundays. Not next year, the year after next. They gonna be playing on Sundays. Now, and I would not be surprised if one of them first round pick. More likely Carnell Tate. So, and Julian saying he's right there in the Heisman conversation after his performance against Penn State. You got to put him in the conversation for the Heisman. He may not win it, but he should at least be in the conversation. He's just been steady. He's just been steady doing his thing all year, taking care of the ball. Taking care of the ball, not taking too many big shots, throwing touchdowns, and now his average is one of the best in the country. His completion percentage. So, but you got to look at the resume. Ohio State they beat Texas, and who else? They beat Illinois when Illinois was ranked. Now they ain't even on the scene as far as AP or college football or coaches poll ranking. They ain't even on the scene, Illinois. They're not even on the scene. So that argument is going to be, again, strength of record and strength of schedule. You would have to lean to Indiana. You have to. Their strength of record probably a little bit better than Ohio State's because they've been blowing teams out, putting up 50 and 60 points on teams. Ohio State, they've only put up one game where they scored more than 50 points, and that was against Grambling. So, I would not be surprised if they have Indiana at number 1 tomorrow night in the initial college football playoff rankings for 2025. That's my question. That's how I answered the first question. Should they jump them? Probably. More than likely, they should, because they earned it. Indiana has earned it. I lay no credence to that. I'm a Buckeyes fan, yes, but I see what I see, and I call it like it is. Indiana has earned that. If they get that spot tomorrow night, they earned it. So far, they have earned it. But I'm going to pump the brakes. This is my second question. Now, yesterday, I was listening to Sirius XM, College Sports Sunday, and they had call-ins, and I'm looking on my Twitter feed, and when the rankings came out, the new rankings, and of course, everybody gonna throw salt again at Ohio State. Who have they played? They haven't played anybody. If they were in the SEC, they would have lost the game probably too. Here's my question to all those haters and the SEC apologists who say if Ohio State, and they even say it Indiana, but they say Ohio State, if they were in the SEC, they would have lost the game probably 2 at this time. My question to you guys is, to who? Who in the SEC would have beaten them this year? Now, mind you, we've already beaten an SEC team. Remember Texas? When everybody was hyping them up, they came into the season with all this hype, and Arch Manning was going to be the next great one, and possibly a Heisman Trophy finalist, and la-da-dee, la-da-da. Came in our house and we beat them. Came to Columbus and they left with an L. So mind you, we're already beating one SEC school. So I want to know. Here's my question. Who in the SEC can truly say they can beat Ohio State? And don't come at me with what you feel. Don't come at me with your opinion. Come at me with facts. Come at me with facts. You're going to hit me with a comment, and I hope you do. And please like and subscribe if you like what you're hearing. But if you're going to comment on who you think can beat Ohio State from the SEC, come at me with some facts. Don't come at me with an opinion. Because everybody got an opinion. Because Ohio State's like the New York Yankees of college football. Either you love them or you love to hate them. So if you're going to come at me about who you think Ohio State can lose to in the SEC, come at me with facts. Don't come at me with your heartfelt opinion. Because that's all you feeling. And that's jealousy. You just jealous Ohio State's up at the top and your team isn't. That's all that is. But I want to know. Who do you think can beat Ohio State in the SEC? Georgia, you got to get real. They've been living dangerously all year. They just been hanging around, pulling rabbits out of their hat to pull out wins late. You think you're going to do that against Ohio State? You will get boat raced. You can't play around with your food when you play in Ohio State. And that is what Georgia does. You can do that at Florida, Tennessee. Okay, go ahead. Play with your food. You do that against Ohio State, you can get sent home. So don't give me Georgia. Because they've been living dangerously all year. Got bit once by Alabama. So don't give me Georgia. LSU, don't make me laugh. Ole Miss, don't make me laugh harder. Oklahoma, now you're going to make me cry when I laugh. A&M, so A&M, oh yeah, they got signature wins. But it isn't like you put the bricks on Notre Dame when you beat them. You had to outscore Notre Dame. You really think you're going to hang 45 points on Ohio State with that defense? Please. With that defense. They've allowed 55 points all season long. You had to score 14 plus 45 just to get by Notre Dame. And you only won by what? 3 points? And you really think you're going to hang 40 plus points on Ohio State, even on a neutral field? Please. 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 I don't remember the last time Ohio State gave up 40 points in the game. It's been a minute. I think the last time I seen them let somebody hang 40 points on them was when Georgia beat them in the playoff game back in, 2023? 2022? Right at the stroke of midnight, something like that. Last time I saw it. So it's been a minute since somebody hung that many points on Ohio State. 40 or more. So who else? Let's go now. Alabama. What? Alabama scares Ohio State? You got to be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. You lost to Florida State, who ain't even in the rankings, and you lost to them. So don't give me Alabama. Don't want to hear it. Yes, Alabama's got better, but you lost the game. You lost to stank Florida State. So I don't want to hear that. Who else? Vanderbilt? They're a nice story. They ain't beating Ohio State. You can't beat Texas. You damn sure ain't beating Ohio State. It's right out like that. I know you had almost a great comeback against Texas, but you ain't beating Ohio State. Nope. So who else? Missouri? Who else? Who else out there? Ole Miss? Who else? Who out there? I want to know. To who? You haters and naysayers and you just plain out just jealous of Ohio State being high up there in the rankings. You say if they were in the SEC, they would have lost 1 or 2 games already. And my question to you is, to who? Who? Who in that conference can beat Ohio State? That's my question. The only team I think that could hang with Ohio State is A&M. But they don't have enough defense to stop Ohio State. So they can win that game too. Look, I get the Ohio State hate. I get it. I understand it. It is real. It's there. And Ohio State has to own that. Why? They're the defending national champions. And they're the number 1 team in the country, according to AP and the Coaches Poll. They're the number 1 team in the country. They'll probably be number 1 or number 2 when the college football playoff rankings come out tomorrow. So they've been on top. They've been at the very top of the college football world for most of the last 2 years. I get that. But come on. Y'all act like Ohio State has played nobody the last couple of years. What did they do in the playoffs? What did they do in the playoffs last year? I do believe they beat 2 SEC schools on the way to the Natty. Did they not? Tennessee was huffing and puffing and bebopping and running their mouths. How they were coming up to Columbus and they were going to make it Neyland Stadium North. And they got sent home with a butt whooping. They got sent back down I-75, back down to Knoxville with an L. And in Texas pushed Ohio State. But in the end, Ohio State made the plays. They made the crucial plays at the crucial times to come out of there with a win and move on to the championship. That's 2 SEC schools that they beaten. They've beaten 3 SEC schools in the past calendar year. 2 of them the same one, Texas. Please don't act like the SEC is that high and mighty. No, the SEC is top heavy, just like the Big Ten. The Big Ten and the SEC are the same. They're top heavy. The only thing different between the SEC and the Big Ten is that ESPN showers the SEC with so much love. That's why half the damn schools in the SEC are ranked, even though they're overrated. Half the SEC is overrated and weak. The top half, like I said, the top heavy. Georgia, Alabama, A&M. Those are 3 best. Georgia, Alabama, A&M. Right? So, commit Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon. Both leagues are top heavy. That's all. That's all there is. It's just that the media, the ESPN, shows the SEC so much love. I hear it all the time. They show them more love than they'll ever show the Big Ten. They only show the Big Ten love at the top heavy. But that's the way it is. And that's why we get this SEC bias. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm saying it. There ain't too many SEC schools that can beat Ohio State. Period. Maybe 1. Right now, I will give it to A&M. They hang with them. But everybody else, the Georgia, Alabama, not this year. No, they ain't. No, you ain't. I ain't trying to hear it. You've already lost games. We haven't. We ain't playing nobody. We ain't lost anybody either. We haven't lost anybody. Doesn't look like we're going to. So the only time you're going to be able to answer that, oh, Ohio State can't beat the SEC. The only way you're going to truly answer what I just asked you, the to whom, is in the playoffs. When Ohio State meets one of these teams in the playoffs. That's the only way this question can be answered. My question, who in the SEC beat Ohio State? The only way we're going to realistically get an answer to that question come playoff time. And I can't wait. Because I'm hearing it. Now I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to know which one of these SEC schools beat Ohio State. Straight up. Is it going to be on a neutral field? More than likely at a bowl game. We'll see. I want to, because I really want to know. I truly want to know. And then when we find out if an SEC school dominates Ohio State, I'll tip my hat. But if it's the other way around, I'm coming. The big O will be coming. Trust that. Big O with the big mouth here in Total Sports Ozone. I just had to get that off my chest. I'm sorry because I keep hearing this week after week after week after week. Ohio State would take a loss in the SEC if they were in there. And I'm wondering, and I'm going to still ask that question, to who? All right, let's move on. NFL. There was some good games that came down to some fantastic, crazy finishes in the NFL yesterday. But in the end, some big, mighty teams took L's yesterday. Yes, they did. The Detroit Lions lost at home to the Minnesota Vikings. It shocked me. But the Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, his first game back, and he took it to the Lions. And the Lions and the Vikings defense made Jared Goff very, very, very uncomfortable. So the Lions took a rare home loss, 27-24. Other teams went down. Green Bay at home went down to the Carolina Panthers. I was wondering, this game had me worried. Because Jordan Love, he didn't look great. He did not look great at all. But Carolina defense, they made plays, came in with a couple of turnovers, and I was shocked. I definitely didn't pick the Panthers to win this game. And they went on the road in Green Bay in hostile territory and stole one. Are the Carolina Panthers a playoff team? We don't know. They've been picking up a few teams. Left and right here. So who knows? I think I definitely think they've improved from last year. Definitely. With or without Bryce Young, they definitely have improved. The Carolina Panthers. They're not that easy out they used to be. Oh no. They weren't that easy W on your schedule if you saw it. Not this year. I mean, when you can go to Green Bay and beat the team with the best record in the NFC in their house, saying something. That's definitely saying something. So you might want to keep an eye open on those Carolina Panthers here at the second half of the season. I think they might be in for some surprises. Another teams that went down, big time teams. The team with the best record in the league at the time, Indianapolis Colts. They looked damn near immortal. They looked damn near mortal against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers forced 6 turnovers against the Indianapolis Colts. Yet they only won by 7. So that just sells to me with the Indianapolis Colts. You had a bad day hanging on to the ball. If they could have just took care of the ball, they probably would have won in Pittsburgh. But I'll say it before, I'll say it again. I'll say it before, I'll say it again. I don't give a damn. You could be the best team you can be the best team ever. You could be the worst team ever. You don't take care of that ball, chances are you're going to lose. 6 turnovers, that's why they lost. There it is right there. If you can force any team to turn the ball over 6 times and you lose, you got a serious problem. Pittsburgh, now, what is that saying about the Steelers, though? What's that saying about the Steelers? Last week, they looked, our defense looked terrible against Green Bay. It looked awful. Here it is this week. They look like world beaters. 5 sacks, 6 turnovers. They look like the defense looked like they could do no wrong against the number 1 team in the AFC, the Indianapolis Colts. Held Jonathan Taylor to a mere 45 yards on 18 touchdowns. He wasn't even a factor. So what is that saying about the Steelers? What kind of team, especially on defense, are we going to get from the Steelers from week to week? Are we going to get the team that brought the defense to curtain, that steel curtain that those Yanko Steeler fans love, like they did yesterday? Or are we going to get that putrid defense from like the game against Green Bay? What are we going to get from them from week to week? So I'm not sold on the Steelers. Yeah, if they hang on to win the division, they'll be one and done. That's how I feel about them. They'll be one and done because they're up and down like the Dow Jones average. You don't know what to expect them from one week to the next. Are they going to be the high-flying Steelers defense that everybody knows, or are they going to be the putrid one that played against Green Bay at home? I don't know. It's hard to gauge. Offensively, they're going to be steady with Aaron Rodgers. They can't run the ball worth a damn. But with Aaron Rodgers, you can't Metcalf. They're going to put a modicum of points on the board. But their defense, I don't know what to expect from them. But yesterday, the defense came up real big, and they hung a loss against the number 1 team in the AFC, in the Indianapolis Colts. Another team, the game of the day. Oh, before that, did any of y'all see the end of the Chicago Bears Cincinnati Bengals game? Unbelievable. You couldn't write a script on that. If you tried to write a script on it and sell it to Hollywood, they'd laugh at you. The way that game ended. Less than under the 2-minute warning. How that game played out, you couldn't have wrote a script on it and expect anybody to believe it. The Bengals were down 2 scores. I believe they were down, 41-28. Game was over. They did a pan on the fans. Half the Bengals fans were leaving. It was over. Joe Flacco gets him downfield. Pow, pow, ping. Touchdown. Now it's 41-35. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see what happens. Here comes everybody knows the onside kick is coming. And it bounces off the toe of one of the Bears returners. Bounced off his toe. Bears scramble. Bengals recover. Now you're sitting up like, oh, hell no. This ain't going to happen, is it? Oh, my goodness. And Joe Flacco. Bing, got the boom. Bam. Gets in the end zone. Touchdown. With 40-something seconds left. Everybody going crazy. The Bengals have come back from the dead and taken a 1-point lead. People going crazy. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. Ooh, wow. I'm sitting there looking like, nah, this ain't going to happen like this. But there's still 40-some seconds left. Bears get the ball. I'm like, okay, Bengals, you got to stop them. Do you got enough in your defense to hold them off, get them off the field so you can win this game? Nope. What was it? The fourth play. Fourth play. He hit. Caleb Williams hits his tight end. Both two Bengals defenders don't wrap up. They collide, and the tight end takes off for the game-winning touchdown with 17 seconds left. Like I said, you couldn't write a script on this stuff and send it to anybody in Hollywood or New York and expect them to believe it. Who would believe this? But that's how that game ended. That's how that game ended. Unfreaking believable. The Bengals snatched victory from the jaws of defeat, only to get it snatched out of their mouth again by the Bears. That's why they say any given Sunday. That's what they say. The Bengals have to do something about their defense. They have. You look at the worst defense in the NFL. They do. They have the worst defense in the NFL. This is the second week in a row that their defense has allowed the other team to come back and win the game late, real late. The Jets did it last week, and now the Bears. Something got to give on that defense. Something's got to give. That defense needs tweaked, fixed, because all you needed to do was get one defensive stop. And you couldn't do it. And you were at home. I could see you on the road. It was a little tough. But you were at home. Crowd noise and whatnot on your side. If you couldn't handle that, one stop, makes you want to think. But that was the crazy game. That was a crazy finish. There was another crazy finish with the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Las Vegas Raiders. That game went to overtime. Jacksonville pulled it out because Las Vegas couldn't get the 2-point conversion at the very end of overtime to win the game. Give credit to the Raiders. They went for the win. Fortunately, they didn't get the win, but at least they went for it. I admire the guts that Pete Carroll and the Raiders had on for the win. They could have went for the point out. They could have kicked the point out, and the game would have ended in a tie. But they went for the win. Unfortunately, came up short. So I give Pete Carroll and the Las Vegas Raiders all kind of props for going for it. But the game of the day, well, the matchup of the day, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Bills and Chiefs. And that game, well, it was closer. The game was closer to me than the score. The game was not as close. Let me put it like that. That game was not as close to me as the score indicated. Bills won 28-21. Bills could have really, if the Bills could tweak some things on defense, they could have won that game by 21 points or more. They really had control of that game. They kept getting off the field on third down and then fourth down. But they didn't capitalize on it the way I thought they should have. But the Bills did get the win. That's all that matters. But I think they could have put more points on the Chiefs if they really wanted to. That's how I saw that game. They had Pat Mahomes flustered most of the game. He still made some plays, but they had him flustered most of that game. And Josh Allen and the Chiefs and the Bills, they were wheeling and dealing. So the question is, now in the regular season, Josh Allen is 5-1 against Pat Mahomes. That's regular season. As I led off today's show with, the question is the Bills legit contenders for the AFC Championship over the Kansas City Chiefs after last night's performance? Do you think the Bills are the top dog to take out the Chiefs in the playoffs? They now have the game advantage. So it looks like unless Buffalo falls completely apart, if the Chiefs and the Bills meet up in the playoffs, it's going to be in Buffalo. I don't think Kansas City is going to be scared about that because they played in cold weather too. So the weather ain't going to be a factor. At least I don't think. Yeah, it gets a lot more snowy in Buffalo in January, late December and January and all that because of that they close to Lake Erie and all that. But the cold weather, it's not like it don't get cold in Kansas City in January and all that. It does. So we can kill that weather factor. You know, it ain't like the Chiefs are indoor team. They ain't. My question is the psychological advantage for the Buffalo Bills if they get to host the Kansas City Chiefs in a playoff game, especially if it's the AFC Championship game. How big of psychological advantage will the Bills have knowing they just beat them Chiefs last night? Because let's face it, the Chiefs have had the Bills' number in the playoffs over the last few years. We've seen it. Some damn good games against them, but Chiefs have always come out on top. And it's time for the Buffalo Bills to show and prove that this time it's their time. That's the question. How will this win against the Kansas City Chiefs set up Buffalo for the rest of the season? Are they going to be legit? Because they still got to catch New England. New England picked them off. Right? But how did this win? How was this booyoy, whatever that word is, the Bills for the rest of the season moving forward? Are they legit AFC contenders? Yes, I think so. I think they're AFC contenders. I think they contenders for the Super Bowl. But again, don't you forget about them Chiefs. Oh yeah, don't forget about the Chargers. Oh yeah, don't forget about the Patriots. Oh yeah, don't forget about the Indianapolis Colts. So they ain't the only ones. Right now, as I see it, the AFC is wide open. The AFC, as I see it, after week 9 in the NFL season, the AFC is wide open. Any one of 6 teams can win the AFC. Any one of them. So it's going to be fun to watch the second half of the season. Who comes out of the AFC? It's going to be real fun to watch. But that was a great game last night. Buffalo, Kansas City. Buffalo got the upper hand this time, 28-21. Now, I want to talk about the World Series. I scored that game, Game 7. I'm sorry, Game 7 is Game 7, World Series. I had to score, and I did. I watched every single pitch and scored it in my official MLB scorebook that I have. So I'll call every pitch, every hit, every strikeout, every defensive gem of a play. I saw it all for 11 innings. And the way that game with the ebb and flow and Toronto coming out with the 3-1 lead with a 3-1 homer, and then the Dodgers just kept plucking away. Hit a home run here, home run here, and then with 2 outs. The Blue Jays were 2 defensive outs away from winning the World Championship. And then the least expected guy in the lineup, Rojas, hits a solo home run to tie the game. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And it's not like the Blue Jays did not have opportunities to win that World Series in the 9th, 10th, and the 11th. They had the opportunities. But the Dodgers made great defensive plays in the 9th and in the 10th to keep the Blue Jays off the scoreboard and winning the championship. And then Will Smith, what turned out to be the championship winning home run in the 11th. It was a great game. It was not only a great game to watch, it was a great game to score it. I mean, the game went down to 5 hours, but I didn't care. It was so much fun to watch. It was probably the best World Series game I've seen in at least 9 years. At least 9 years. It was a great game to watch. It was a great game to score. Congratulations to the LA Dodgers. You earned that World Series. Now, don't let anybody say any different. You might be the highest paid payroll in MLB. You still got to go out there and play. And what the pitchers did, Yamamoto, what Scherzer did on short rest, and what Yamamoto did was it was tremendous. It was a tremendous effort, and he definitely deserved to get MVP because he held the Blue Jays at bay for 3 innings on a day's rest. How do you do that on a day's rest? So again, congratulations to the Dodgers, well deserved, and it was a fun game 7 to score. I really enjoyed it. Well, that'll do it for me in today's edition of the Total Sports Ozone. Oh, one thing I gotta say before I sign out. Today is my mother's birthday. My mama's birthday is today. Happy birthday, mama. If you're seeing this, I love you to the moon and back. Happy birthday, mama. And if you are seeing this, I'll holler at you later. To everybody else, thanks for joining me. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you tomorrow in the Total Sports Ozone.